I'm always ready.
All right, so I am here today with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and she just happened to be Irish. So I call Claire, this is Claire Henderson. I call her sometimes just to hear her voice, and when she's in the States, she always stays at our house, and she's just part of our family. And really part of the Daystar family for years. And I just want everybody to get to know you a little bit. Miss Claire, she is a missionary to the Philippines.
That's
and
right.
Tell us a little bit how long you've been there, you know, what you do there, what you got going. Miss Claire.
Sure. Kip, that was a big build-up. How am I going to keep up? I came to the Philippines 22 years ago. 22 years ago. I can't believe that. I just came as this young missionary, very young missionary.
And you're only 25.
Yeah, you know, I was a very young missionary when I came. But I knew I had the call of God in my life, and I came out to help with another ministry, to work in their children's homes. And about 3 years into that, the Lord really laid it on my heart to open Helping Hands, Healing Hearts Ministries. And it was specifically for sick children. He told me, Claire, there are kids who are dying of diseases that are curable. They can live. They don't need to die because of poverty. So I went home for a year, fundraised like crazy, and came back to the Philippines and began Helping Hands, Healing Hearts Ministries. And that was, that was in 2001. So we're going to be coming up on 20 years next year, and it hasn't stopped since. So we have been going into local hospitals, helping to buy medications, helping keep sick kids alive, keep them well, because you can't win dead people for Jesus. You got to keep them alive first. So we make sure that we meet the needs. And, you know, honestly, it's a crisis situation, because at that point, the parents are absolutely devastated that their child's sick and their pockets are empty and they can do nothing to help. It's that bad. If you don't have money in your pocket, your child dies. And so we as a ministry are able to step up and meet the need, keep the kids alive. And then we have 2 residential centres, one that we call the Children's Recovery Unit and one that we call the Children's Home. So the Children's Recovery Unit, that's where the kids would come from the hospital when they're discharged. They would come and stay with us, and that is where they come to literally to recover, to get well, to get to know Jesus, just to be loved on before they go back to mommy and daddy. Because sometimes if we find that if we sent them home immediately from the hospital because of poverty, because they were going home to an empty house, didn't have the right nutrition, we find that they weren't making it. So we opened the recovery unit to be like a stepping stone, like a halfway house for kids just to come and really get built up and properly recover before they get back to mom and dad. So at Helping Hands, we really believe in family preservation, Kip. We are not the type of organization who wants to just fill up our home with children. That is not the goal. We want to keep children in families. That is our goal. We want to make sure that kids are with mom and dad and that bond remains, that they stay attached, but that mom and dad come out looking like the heroes because they got help for their child when they were sick.
Yeah.
We just came alongside and helped.
That's fantastic, Claire. I mean, we took a team a few years ago. I can't remember how many years now, but we took a team over there, and I found out firsthand that how important your recovery unit was. There was an emergency. I mean, just within hours of when we got there, there was an emergency, and you told me to hop in your ambulance car with you, put on the lights, the honking the horn.
The wang wang, as they call it here.
Yeah.
We got the wang wang going.
I learned 2 things there. How important you are and how awful of an emergency driver you are. I put my life in your hands, and you did get me home safely, but it's just so important. It's so important what you're doing, and it doesn't stop in these unique times that we're in.
If anything, it's even more important at the minute because sometimes when the kids would have, that particular child that you remember, Kip, what happened, I never forget it actually. She woke up and she couldn't hear. Do you remember? She said, Mummy, I can't hear. I can't see you properly. I can't hear you properly. And she started to freak out because she literally couldn't hear. And she wasn't a deaf child. She was a child with cancer, with osteosarcoma in her leg. And we'd already removed her leg. And she suddenly just couldn't hear. So we found out later it was the effects of the chemotherapy, and thankfully it was reversible. She can hear pretty good right now, but at the time it was very scary. And as you say, that the care, it's always been important, but even more so now in the midst of this pandemic, because before, when the kids would go in for chemotherapy, they would come up, they would get admitted to the hospital, they would stay there for a few days. Doctors would be keeping a really close eye on them. But right now, they're going in as outpatients, they're getting their chemo, they're going home on a bus full of germs. In fact, all the buses have stopped. There's been no public transportation now for 7 months. So the only way they could get to the hospital is, because they're coming from the provinces, so some of them have got 4, 5, 6 hour drive. And the only way they can get up is if they have a private car, which the majority of our kids don't have private cars. So even more so, it has been crucial that we had a children's recovery unit right in the heart of the city where kids could come and stay, get their treatments, not miss a treatment, not miss a chemo, and then be able to complete all their cycles and then go home to their families. Wow. So it truly has been amazing.
Yeah, I know. I'm working with mission partners all over the world, and giving and support is down worldwide, you know, and you just understand, because so many economic societies is just hindered, and businesses are being lost. It's a desperate time, but I just feel like God is blessing those who are giving out of need, and in desperate times, they're just really helping. And we want to keep investing in you and what's going on there. It's so important. I remember a few months ago, I think we started praying for one of our kids there named Felix.
That's right.
Tell me about Felix's story. What's that about?
Christmas Day, every Christmas Day, we go to the hospital on December 25. Everybody's eating their turkey, but not us. We're, car packed up, full of shoe boxes. We're heading to the hospital. And I'm telling you, we bring the kids with us. So we're not all about receiving. We actually get the kids from the children's homes, and we pile into the cars, and we go to the hospital, and we give out a Christmas shoebox to every child that we meet in the hospital on Christmas Day. And the majority of times we will hear a parent saying, "Sabi ko sayo may gift ka na." That means, I told you to get a gift this year. Of course, they had no idea that they would get a gift. They were just hoping. But when we would show up, the tears would begin to flow, and you just have these awesome moments. But before we would go to the hospital, we talked to all the kids, and we say, "Guys, why are we doing this?" And they said, "To get a gift, Mummy Claire." "Well, what else? What's the other reason?" "Well, because Jesus. We're doing it for Jesus." And I said, "That's right." So if we give them the shoebox, they'll think it's just about the gift. But if we pray for them, and we pray for healing, and God heals them, that'll be even more of a gift. If we talk to them about salvation, and they receive that gift, that'll be the best gift they'll ever receive. So our kids are primed to go in and pray. So last Christmas, my daughter, Mianne, was with us, and she went in, and I didn't follow all the kids. We give them the shoebox. We let them go with one of our staff would kind of stand in the background and go with them. So Mianne came running back down the corridor, and she said, "Mum, you told us to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit today and to know if we had to pray for somebody." I said, "That's right, love." She said, "Well, there's this young guy. His name is Felix, or Felix. They call him here Felix." She said, "Kuya Felix, Mum, his leg is the size of a basketball, maybe bigger. It's more like a big squash. That's the size of it, like a squash." So I said to her, "Okay, pet." She said, "Mum, honestly, God told me that you have to be the one to pray for him. It has to be you." I said, "Okay. So did you pray for him?" She said, "Oh yeah, I did already, but really clearly the Lord told me you had to meet him." I said, "Okay." So I went down the hallway, and I entered the ward, and there he was. He really was pitiful looking. He was so unwell, Kip. And truthfully, I didn't know if he was going to see New Year's Eve. He was just so ill. He has a thing called Ewings Sarcoma. So it was a huge, ginormous tumor on his knee. By this stage, there was like ulcers on it. It was just, the smell was horrific. You couldn't touch him. He was just in so much pain. It was just awful for him. And I asked the doctors, hey, what does this young guy need? They basically said he needs a miracle. I said, well, I can see that. But they said he also needs his leg removed quickly, because for every day that stays, the cancer is just spreading through him. So we were able to put out prayer requests on Facebook. I know Daystar prayed. In fact, you sent me a video of people just coming forward to the altar just to call out the name of Felix before Jesus. And I remember watching it, the tears just running down my face. And I was praying along with you, saying, Lord, there's no distance in prayer. I know that you're hearing the prayers of the saints. I know that you are. And Lord, I know this young child's salvation matters to you, and that his healing matters to you. And I showed him the video. I sent it to him when he was in hospital. He cried as well. He said, please thank everybody at Daystar for me. I can't believe people on the other side of the world are saying my name. And I said, son, they're saying your name before Jesus. That's what they're doing. They're not just saying your name. They're saying your name. They're calling it before the Lord. And I brought him home New Year's Eve. He asked to go home for New Year's Eve. I think he sensed in his heart it would be his last one. So he specifically asked the doctors for a pass to get out to go home. And we put him in the ambulance and brought him home. And what would normally take maybe 20-minute drive took us about an hour. We had to go so slowly because every bump in the road hurt him, and it was just awful. And I remember as Ike, our driver, and I, as we were wheeling the stretcher into this little shanty house that his daddy had built. It's just, you know, the crinkly tin, the corrugated iron, and the little hollow block walls. No toilet, no electricity, nothing like that. We were carrying him in thinking it was the last time we'd see him, but no, he survived. He made it. So he started his chemotherapy. We got his leg took off in January, and he started his chemo. And then March, lockdown struck, and he got stranded in the province. Of all the times that they decided to go to the province, it was that week. So for months, we never heard a word from him. He was literally stranded, couldn't get back to the city. No buses, no public transportation. They had no car. Nobody wanted to rent the car to them as well because of the high COVID risk, because of his cancer. So they were just stuck. We couldn't even leave the city with our ambulance to pick him up. It was awful. But a few months later, nearing the end of the severe lockdown, the mayor gave him personal permission to come back into the city. So we were able to pay to get him brought back into the city. And he called us, and this is what I love, Kit. He knew who to call, and he knew where to call home for a while. And he called and he said, Mummy Claire, Tita Claire, as he calls me now, Auntie Claire. Tita Claire, he said, can I come and stay at CRU? I know you offered before. And I said, no, thanks. Because he's got a great family. Mum and a dad who really love him. And he was just embarrassed about it all. And he said, but I really need to come now, because I know if I go to the province, I'm going to get stranded again. But I want to live. I want to have my chemotherapy. I want to survive. So he said, son, you are so welcome. So we got him. And he comes from another religion. He comes from a different set of beliefs that are very... There are similarities to our own, but they're also very different. He came in and he said, yeah, I know all about Jesus. We were saying, do you know him personally? He said, well, I know all about him. And I pray sometimes. I said, okay, that's a start. So he came in to CRU, and honestly, Kip, in just a matter of weeks, he's made friends with everybody. He has not missed a Bible study, not missed a devotion. He just sits there, just beaming, the smile across his face. So just pray for him, because I really want him to have that encounter with Jesus, not a borrowed faith just because we're talking about the Lord. And I've warned all the staff, hey, nobody forcing anybody to pray the sinner's prayer here. I want to see kids coming to Jesus just out of their own heart, just because they want to have a real, authentic encounter with Jesus. So that's what I would ask you to pray for Felix. And he really needs healing. The cancer has spread. It really has strayed, but he's looking fabulous at the minute. He started his chemo again. He was in again last week. And when he comes out of the chemo, he feels sick for a few days and then he gets his strength back. In fact, Marissa, a few hours ago, Marissa sent me a picture of the 3 boys. They were out in the front garden shooting hoops. He's sitting in a wheelchair shooting hoops.
Nice.
And I'm like, that's the heart of Helping Hands. It's just bringing the joy where there was hopelessness. It's just bringing kids back to life, literally bringing them back to life for the love of Jesus.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, Claire, I know it's late there, but I could talk to you for hours and hours. Just hear your Irish voice for one, but more than that,
you might need subtitles though. You're used to it, but I would say nobody else is.
Yeah, we're gonna get the subtitles. Hey, but the greatest thing about it is, and the reason that God has connected our hearts and the hearts of Daystar to Helping Hands, Healing Hearts, is that it's not about an organization. It never has been. That's not what brought you there, and that's not what keeps you there. It's about stories like Felix. It's about one life and a life change one at a time. And so I'm always
the one, and it's always worth it, Kip, for the one. People say to me, "Oh, well, how many hundreds of thousands have you helped?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't keep account, to be totally honest. People do ask me that. And I'm like, but I can tell you about the one that I helped yesterday. Yeah. I can tell you about the one that I met their need today. I really don't need to give you a list of figures because, you know, that's up to the Lord. How many will stand around his throne? That's up to him. Yeah. But I know about the one that he has placed in front of me today. That's the one that I need to make sure I'm taking care of. So you're right. It's always about the one.
Yeah, you have the heart of a shepherd. You're going to leave the 99 to go chase that one down. I've seen it firsthand. Every one of those kids are the most important. They're the most important at the time, and that's what I love about you. And I'm a better person because I know you, Claire. And
thank you, Kip.
Daystar is a better church because you're a part of us, you know, and we're a part of you.
I love being your missionary. I love it.
Love it.
You know, years ago when I met Daystar, I knew that the Lord was in it because I go to so many churches, you know, and you always know when there's just a different connection. You'll really sense it. There's some in Northern Ireland as well. There's some in other parts of America, but there's just sometimes you just walk in and you just know there's a connection. And you guys have ministered to me, Freedom Retreat and all the different stuff you've poured into me, helped me be a better missionary, helped me be a better mom. So I really appreciate that.
We love you, but I don't want to give any kind of I don't want to leave anybody hanging because they want to be part of your ministry and how to do that. We have a organization called 130. You can go to 130.org and you can sponsor one of Claire's children because they're not just Claire's kids. They're our kids, you know, and I want us to take responsibility, and it helps them in their medical needs, giving them a place to live and really
good staff to take care of them.
Yeah,
that is so vital.
So important. How many staffers do you have there with you?
We have 46 full-timers and we have 4 full-time missionary volunteers, 2 Americans, a Namibian and myself. Yeah. And then we have 40 kids at the minute. So obviously all the 46 staff aren't on at once. We have shifts and rotations, but there are 40 kids who we are family for right now until they can get into their forever families or until they are reunified with their biological family. So help us step in and be family for these kids. That's what they need. They need somebody to pray for them, Kip. They need somebody to be that one person that does the praying.
We're going to remember these staffers, and God used them in a powerful way. And people are going to try to keep up with you and what you're doing there. They can go to Helping Hands, Healing Hearts.
You can go to helpinghandsministries.com. helpinghandsministries.com. And then we also have a YouTube page that's Helping Hands Healing Hearts. You can have a look at the YouTube page. There's 3 videos on it. I made it myself. You really should subscribe and like.
Yeah.
So my 11-year-old son told me to say.
We're gonna make Claire famous, right?
Seriously, they are so impressed that we have 30 subscribers. Wait until the Daystar people all subscribe, and then
we're gonna blow it up. We're gonna put those links in with this video, and I just appreciate your time with us, and for all our Daystar folks and our family and our friends that keep up with us and what we're doing. We're going to be praying for you and believing for miracles for not only Felix, but for all the children.
Pray for my 2 that will be going to America soon. I have 2 lined up for the US, going for the Forever Family. And guess what? One of them is going to Florence, Alabama.
Nice.
So I will be able to visit on my way to Daystar. You and I will be taking a little road trip to Florence.
Yes.
Doing some home visits. Can't wait.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we love you, Claire, and it's great to spend some time with you. And we're going to make this a regular deal, so we keep up with what's going on with our partners in the Philippines.
Brilliant.
We can't get there now, but soon travel will open up, and we'll be bringing teams up there, and can't wait.
We'll be waiting.
You. All right. Love you, girl.
All right. God bless you. Love you too. Bye. God bless.